Beechwood Gardens was originally laid out in the 1940s by Joanne Pym, the same landscaper who designed the Oppenheimers' famed Brenthurst Gardens. When Christopher bought the house, he was told this Eden would take 10 years to restore, but all the work has reaped these rewards.
Christopher, your garden is magnificent. When you walk out here for the first time, it literally takes your breath away.
Thank you. And it complements the house, I think, in that it's a European-style garden. The fact that it's an established wooded garden with forests and a rose garden and water features is very typical of the sort of garden you'd find in Europe.
And what is it about gardening in the first place that you love so much?
I've always been passionate about nature. I've always enjoyed, as a little boy, planting beans and seeing nature sprouting forth. And I've always loved birds, and it's wonderful that I find myself here with my own sanctuary where I can enjoy the things that I love.
I see that we've arrived at the rose garden, absolutely beautiful. I'm assuming this was a pivotal part of the garden.
It was, in the sense that when I acquired the property some 15 years ago, my wife Susan had just gone into labor in the nursing home, and she said she would agree to us getting this property unseen on the condition that there was a beautiful rose garden. It was a major project in that I reconstructed the rose garden completely. It was important that we had an aspect of the garden that was extremely structured and actually quite geometric. It's a sunken rose garden, so it's about 2 meters lower than the rest of the garden, and a central water feature with a tall fountain. The roses that we used are roses that were chosen largely by virtue of their color and the fact that they're all centered. I constructed a colonnade of Doric columns along the one border with arches which I planted up with wisteria, and most importantly, the Eden rose, also known as Pierre de Ronsard, strongly centered. It climbs prolifically. It's a rose that has been awarded with a huge amount of awards globally over the last 20 years.
I think you definitely gave your wife what she wanted, and you know what they say, happy wife, happy life.
The sculpture garden boasts pieces by his family.
So as we come out of the colonnade, we're approaching a shady area beneath the camphor trees, and the first sculpture that we meet is a bronze sculpture of a young girl who's looking down through the colonnade. And then as we approach the ponds here, we have a sculpture also in bronze of a life-size fish eagle, and then on the other side a great white pelican that is seemingly nesting on a table of peace in the home. The pelican, also in bronze, is by my mother, Christopher Greig.
That looks very inviting. Shall we enjoy the surroundings? Have a quick seat.
This is a great spot, Roxy.
I love it.
Off to you.
Thank you very much. I could spend all day here. I really could.
In this very pond in front of us are about 50 giant-sized indigenous carp.
I don't blame them. I think I'd enjoy living in this pond too. How do you grow a successful garden?
I always think of the old Chinese proverb that says that the most important fertilizer in the garden is the gardener's shadow. And it's all about the love that one puts into the garden, rather than fertilizers, which I have to say are a swear word in our garden. We don't use any fertilizers, and for that matter, no insecticides either.
Christopher allows insects to feed on his roses. The birds eat the insects and maintain the ecological balance. It's the kind of setting enjoyed by a famous French Impressionist painter.
When you stand next to a pond like this, you can completely understand why Monet was obsessed with water lilies.
Yeah, and when people come and stand right here, it's interesting that everyone makes mention of Monet when they see the water lilies. There's an extensive amount of different varieties of water lilies here, and this is the space that we typically use for photographic sessions for bridal parties.
It helps that the garden has a borehole taking care of all water needs. With a wheelchair-accessible path around the features, Christopher often opens up his green wonderland to garden societies.
That is delicious.
As is the huge selection on offer through here in the organic vegetable garden. Both Christopher and his wife Susan are vegetarians. He spends a lot of time growing all kinds of vegetables, from seeds to mature plants, and Susan, being an outstanding cook, makes the most of them.
Susan, I loved exploring the garden with Christopher, but I must say, you must be in your element in this vegetable garden. Since you're a vegetarian, do you pick from here all the time?
Every single day. We've got every type of lettuce imaginable, every type of spinach. I mean, we are just having the most unbelievable time with picking. So nice to know that it's fresh and organic. If you put energy into something, obviously it's rewarding. And I think you do have to have green fingers, but you can actually even have a little box on your windowsill. You know, it doesn't have to be a big garden like this. It could be a small little potager.
So there's even hope for me.
Even hope for you. Should we make a nice summer salad?
Sounds scrumptious.
Here we've got some stunning cos lettuce.
It must be so rewarding planting your own vegetable garden.
It is, and you know what the best part about it is? That in actual fact, you plant lettuces and 1 month later, you've got the plant. I mean, it's instant grat, which I love. This is the red veined baby spinach leaves. They are so exquisite, and in a green salad, they add wonderful color.
That's the other thing about making a good salad, is making it look good and dressing it nicely.
Look, I think the most important part of a salad, other than the ingredients, obviously, is the dressing.
Life is too short.
Life's too short for an undressed salad.
This looks amazing. So artistic. Well, thank you so much for having us today in your veggie garden.
Thank you for coming. I love sharing it with everybody.
Let's enjoy.
They do every day. They're growing a range of new fig varieties. The gardens are now the subject of a master's thesis, and the story of this wonder of nature continues to grow.